Okay, welcome. Let's get right into it. The internet as we know it, well, it has some new rules. And these rules, they come with a pretty massive price tag. Today, we're going to break down a single legal ruling that is sending shockwaves from Silicon Valley all the way to Shanghai. And it all starts with this one number. 14.47 million pounds. Now, this is so much more than just a fine. It is a statement. On February 24th, 2026, the UK's Information Commissioner's Office, you'll hear them called the ICO, hit Reddit with this penalty to signal one thing, loud and clear. The era of just looking the other way, it's officially over. And look, let's forget about Reddit's bank account for a second. This number represents a brand new, very, very expensive price tag for any platform that fails to protect kids online. You should really think of it as a warning shot, fired right across the bow of every social media app, every online game, every digital service out there. So how does a platform even end up with a fine this huge? Well, the ICO's investigation dug deep, and it uncovered two really critical failures in how Reddit was handling data from its youngest users. Let's break down exactly what they got wrong. This right here, this gets to the heart of the matter. For years, the internet basically ran on the old way. You just put a little line in your terms of service saying no users under 13. It was kind of like a flimsy keep out sign posted on a lawn. But the ICO's message is now crystal clear. That is just not good enough anymore. The new standard demands a real fence with a locked gate built with actual technology that can enforce the rules. All right, let's get into the legal nitty-gritty. The ICO found two huge gaps. First, without a real way to check ages, Reddit had no legal permission, what the lawyers call a lawful basis, to even handle data from kids under 13. It's kind of like collecting mail for someone you don't know without their consent. Second, they skipped a critical step called a Data Protection Impact Assessment, or a DPIA. Think of it like a mandatory safety check. Like an engineer has to inspect a bridge before it opens to traffic. They failed to do that check, and that oversight was a massive, massive part of this ruling. It's really tempting to look at this and think, oh, this is just about one big company. But if you think that, you're missing the real story here. This fine wasn't just some random event. It was a final, very deliberate step in a pattern of enforcement that's been ramping up for a while. And you can see exactly how this strategy changed right here. Before 2026, the ICO had a lighter touch. They'd offer advice, a little guidance. Then, on February 5th, the first domino fell. Imgur got fined for almost identical failures. Now, the penalty was smaller, but Imgur's response was huge. They just packed up and left the UK market completely. See the pattern? Just a few weeks later, the ICO hits Reddit with a fine that's 58 times larger. The message could not be clearer. The warnings are done. And this brings us to the regulators' absolute core argument, which this quote just sums up perfectly. That old excuse of, hey, we're an adult service because our rules say so, yeah, that's officially dead. The new reality is super simple. If it's likely that kids can find their way to your platform, you are responsible for their safety. End of story. What you intended doesn't matter anymore. And make no mistake about it, this is not just a UK problem. What's happening here is actually part of a much bigger, coordinated global movement. A new international standard for online safety is being built, piece by piece, all around the world. I mean, you can see this global wave taking shape right here. You've got the EU's super powerful Digital Services Act, the UK's own Online Safety Act, and the goal's basically the same. We're seeing similar laws pop up in major markets all across Africa and Asia. But here's the most important part. These regulators are all talking to each other. They're sharing information and lining up their strategies. And that is why this matters to everyone, everywhere. For any platform that operates across borders, the world is getting a whole lot smaller. A ruling against you in London, that doesn't just stay in London. It creates real reputational damage and serious operational risk in every single market you're in, from Lagos to Los Angeles. So, what does all this mean in practice? Well, it means the standard for what it takes to be a responsible digital platform has fundamentally shifted. The bar has been raised way up, and trust me, it is not going back down. The new mandate, the new set of rules, it really boils down to two things, and they are absolutely non-negotiable. Rule 1, you must have real, technical, provable age verification. Rule 2, you must formally document all your risks with a DPIA, proving that you've actually thought about what could go wrong and that you have a plan to stop it. And if there is one line to remember from all of this, It's this one. It just perfectly captures the new reality. The passive approach, putting up a little sign and just hoping for the best, that is finished. Regulators are now proactively looking for children on these platforms, and they're holding the platforms accountable for what they find. So all of this leaves us with a really critical question for the future of the internet itself. As we rightly build all these new digital fences to protect children, what are the trade-offs for the rest of us? What happens to the privacy and the anonymity that have kind of defined the open web for so long? That is the complex challenge that we're all going to have to navigate in the years to come.